Okay, so when I was like really new to my faith, I went to church one day at Mariners. I went with my mom, and then after service, we went outside and talked to my mom's friend. So while my mom was talking to her friend, I was talking to her husband, and we were just talking about our faith and stuff. And then he said something to me that I'm never going to forget. He asked, "What facial product do you use?" And I was so confused because I don't use any facial products. So I told him, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird. You have really nice skin." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And then he's like, "No, it's like almost like your face is glowing." And I just took it as a really good compliment. I didn't really think much of it until months later when I was reading Exodus, and I was studying the story of how Moses went up to the mountain to talk to God and to receive the tabernacles and the Ten Commandments. And when he came down, the people were afraid of him because his face radiated because he had been speaking to God. That's what it says. His face radiated because he was speaking to God. And then it hit me. I was like, okay, Moses was speaking to God. And during that time, I was praying fervently, like passionately, without ceasing, because of the situation I was going through. My girlfriend broke up with me maybe a month before that, and then just other things that I won't get too into right now. But yeah, I realized I was constantly being in God's presence. I was constantly praying. I was abiding in God, just worshiping God and just being with God all the time. And he told me my face was glowing. That's crazy to me. But this got brought up because I was reading Psalm 34, 29? 35, 29. Anyway, and it says, those who look to God radiate, their faces will not be ashamed. Those who look to God radiate, their faces will not be ashamed. Their faces radiate, look to God, prayer. And I was like, oh, wow, that reminds me a lot of my situation. So that's what brought it up again. But, what I got from this was that we can all be Moses. Not literally, but, we don't need, to go through the priest to hear God. After Jesus died on the cross, the veil was torn. Now we can have an intimate relationship with God without having to go through the priest, without having to go into the tabernacle. That's what Moses did. He went into the tabernacle to speak to God. But now we are the temple, and the Holy Spirit dwells in us, so we can have a one-on-one relationship with God, and we can hear from God. We don't need to just go look to these preachers to hear from God. They're men and women just like us. In James 5:17, James says, Elijah was a man just like us. He prayed so that it would stop raining for 3 years, and it happened. But he was just a man like us. James says that right there. So that's just some motivation for you to hopefully get in God's presence, get in the Word, and hear from God, because God can speak directly to you, and I'm sure that's better than through somebody else. So yeah, have a blessed day.